racks off of the Rancher, you have a series of 12mm bolts. There's one right here for this back bar, and there's one right there above the muffler. And you have one right there, right in front of the coolant reservoir tank. There, another 12mm bolt. And then right up under the fender here, there is a 10mm bolt that you'll have to do that goes through the fender to the top. And that's that way on both sides. Or to loosen the back rack up on 2012 Rancher.
Okay.
We're going to try and take off the front bumper brush guard assembly here. It's a Honda brush guard. Take that off. It's a 13mm socket you'll need to take off. There's a bolt there that runs through. There'll be one on the other side right there. That's for the top fastening point, and then there's a lower point down here that uses a larger bolt that we'll get to in a minute. Be taking that and the front rack off as well. So now we're going to take a 17mm socket, and the bottom two brackets here of the Honda brush guard bolt to the small front bumper that comes on the this model Rancher. So let's say 17mm bolt there. We're going to loosen up. There's one of these on each side. Take that off. Once you take out those 17mm bolts and loosen those at the bottom, take them out. We're just slide the front brush guard right off of the stock front bumper. Here's your Honda brush guard there. Assembly all one piece. We'll set that to the side. Get it ready to be prep it to be coated with a Herculiner eventually. Next step we're going to be doing is taking the front rack off and this front grill, plastic grill guard right here. Take that off too. So in order to take the front rack off of the Rancher, what we're going to do is we got the 12mm socket on here, an extension. We're going to go in here right up top, right above the shock towers where they bolt this back bar that goes through the plastic, the hole in the plastic up here in front of the handlebars. We're loosen that. Be step one in our taking the front racks off here. So now we got the 10, while we're under this fender, I'm going to take the 10mm socket and loosen this bolt to the front rack that goes through the plastic right about there. That's where the 10mm goes through, just like it is on the back. There are 10mm bolts there. So another part of taking this front rack and all off is this front grill guard that's made of plastic, covers the grill. The only thing left holding that on is a 10mm bolt, one just like that. There's one here and one on the other side just like it to hold that plastic grill guard piece on the front. Now, these up here have already been removed when we took the brush guard off, so there's really nothing else holding it up there except for that. So we're going to take and loosen these 10mm. So now we're going to take this front plastic grill guard piece off right here. Just kind of be careful with it because it could crack. Kind of slip it around the winch, fair lead and all. And that fits right through there, and that's your front grill guard piece right there. So we'll set that to the side. We'll have to clean it up and everything. We'll coat the outside of it with a Herculiner too, once we get it prepped and cleaned up. Along with the brush guards. Like I said, it's made of plastic, so you want to be careful with it. They crack really easy. So we're going to take and remove these front 12mm bolts. They're kind of tight on there. Kind of break those loose. Whoops. And do the same on this side. Once we do that, that should allow us to take this front rack assembly and lift it straight up. And then this bumper piece, stock front bumper piece here, will just stay on the four-wheeler. Actually going to coat it with a Herculiner with it being on here, because it's enough room around it to do so, and it'll just be less disassembly and assembly labor, you know, when it comes time to put all the stuff back together. So anyway, thankfully we have that kind of room to work with on that. Just have to clean it up and prep it. Let's do that time. Whoops. So we got those two 12mm out.
Okay.
Grasp the front rack and carefully lift up and out of the two holes there in the front plastic of the Rancher there. And unlike the Recon, the Rancher is front end is supported on its own. The plastic and fenders and headlight buckets are not affected by, excuse me, taking this front rack and brush guard and all that stuff off. And you can see this is the assembly for the DC outlet from Honda that I put on here a couple of years back, and so that's not everybody's gonna have that. We had to take and actually unzip tie, or the zip ties Honda gives are reusable, so I was able to take those off from where they were zip tied onto the rack bar here, and unplug the wiring harness from the DC outlet, and then take the wiring harness plug, DC outlet plug I should say, out of this mounting bracket here, and then that way this part can stay on here and all that can be coated with the Herculiner when we do the rest of the rack, along with and then that way when it goes back on, you don't have to reassemble that to the rack separately. And then your wiring harness just gets to stay right there, out of the way while you're doing that. So yeah, that's your front rack there. I'll sit that down here with the brush guard. Next step, like I said, will be cleaning this stuff up, sanding it, and getting it ready to coat with Herculiner. So we've done our disassembly for the front end side now, and that'll be the next step.